weekend, Gregory Rodrigues, the nickname is Robocop, he's going to be taking on Julian Marquez, a man who had a shot with Miley Cyrus, and he blew it. He absolutely blew it. It is a big-time fight in the middleweight division with potential ranked opponent next, ? Implications. And for Gregory Rodrigues, he lost to Jordan Williams on Dana White's Contender Series 2020. So what does he do? He retools a little bit, makes the move over to Sanford MMA. Used to be a Kings guy when he came into the States. And then he's able to get wins in LFA and ultimately become their champion. He goes on a tidy little win streak in the UFC as well with wins over Jasudavicius. He gets a win over Jin Young Park. And he lost last fight to Armin Petrosian by split decision. You can make arguments for either fighter. I'm here to hear it. All that to say, he did lose his last fight, and that fight wasn't all that long ago. It was this year. It was about 3 months ago. He's going to be taking on the Cuban Missile Crisis, Julian Marquez, who had a very long layoff due to a litany of injuries after he lost by split decision to Alessio Di Chirico, gets a win over Maki Pitolo a little over a year ago, gets a win over Sam Alvey in short succession, and then after that, now it's been another long layoff for Marquez, a guy who has switched it up. He used to be, an Extreme Couture guy in Vegas. He was working at Top Golf. He was all the rage when he came in off Contender Series 2017. That was the OG season. And for Marquez, switched it up over to Gloria MMA and Fitness, added little bits of wrinkles to his game. And you look at Marquez, he's one of those guys, drops you on the feet, gets you to the mat, and then he's able to submit you, or he works in some of the takedowns into his game. But both these guys, very, very dynamic. And I look at this fight, Matt, I hate to kind of tip my hand, but Julian Marquez, very good on the feet, very good on the mat. Gregory Rodrigues, turn all the things that Marquez is good up, and then break that dial off, and that's Gregory Rodrigues, except sometimes he stands in the pocket way too long and gets hit.
I know we're trying to sell a package right now on Julian Marquez. Very good on the feet, I think, is a bit of a stretch, because I do think Gregory Rodrigues has a massive advantage in the feet in this fight.
There's one thing both these guys do that I dislike, and again,
Julian Marquez tries to break his opponent's hands with his chin.
Both of these guys will wait and figure out distance, and for Marquez, even in his last fight against Sam Alvey, pushed him up against, and he's going, it's like watching Caitlin Chukagi. He's going, ha, 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 ha. And I mean, it works for her, so that could get Julian Marquez up to a top contender spot. I don't know. But for Marquez, he does that, but then there's long periods of inactivity. For Gregory Rodrigues, same deal. He'll whip a low kick. He'll throw a bit of a jab. But there's so many periods where both these guys just wait for their opponent to do something or make a mistake. And I know both guys have bonuses to their name. I know for Gregory Rodrigues, you look at it, fight of the night that he had against Jin Young Park, withstood some adversity, got a finish. For Marquez, a lot of performance bonuses. But at the end of the day, this could end up being a boring fight until it's not, too.
I think it's good. I agree, but I disagree a little bit. I do think Gregory Rodrigues is going to be the one who pushes the fight in this matchup, because for Julian Marquez, he doesn't have the best volume on the feet. He is somebody who will fight in that little burst and then take a period of inactivity. With Rodrigues, I think when he gets in range on Marquez, we're going to see a lot more boxing combinations, because even Sam Alvey was able to have some success on the feet against Marquez, and that's the thing that does stand out against a lot of Marquez's fights in the UFC. Even in his wins, and when you just look at his record on a page, especially his last 5, you're like, wow, he's 4-1. He is 4-1, but he's eaten a lot of clean shots throughout all of his fights. And I would go back to the Deron Stewart fight. So many people were excited about his first fight in the UFC. That was a fight of the night that barely got out of the first round. That's how wild it was. But Julian Marquez was eating massive shots at range from a guy like Deron Stewart, who isn't massive for the weight division. I think that's fair to say. And I look at Gregory Rodrigues as one of the bigger punchers in this division. So I'm going to be very curious to see if Marquez can stand up to the punching power of Gregory Rodrigues. I fully expect Julian Marquez to be the more offensive wrestler in this matchup. I do think he's going to have to look for the takedown quite a bit. And I think he's going to have to do the Brian Ortega game plan, which is fake the takedown, make your opponent kind of sprawl prematurely, and then try to initiate a scramble off of that. Because I do think he's the faster grappler than Gregory Rodrigues. I do think he'll have some success in the transitions in this fight, because that's the one great thing about Julian Marquez. He's very good at finding necks in transitions. I'm not saying he's the better grappler for grappling's sake, but that is one of Marquez's X factors. He's very good at just causing a lot of chaos in the ring and then taking advantage of you slipping up because it is so chaotic. Other than a situation like that, I do think Gregory Rodrigues, he's the cleaner fighter in a lot more areas throughout this matchup, and that's why I do like him in this fight. But isn't it wild that we're sitting here so many years after the kind of Julian Marquez experiment? Gregory Rodrigues is a 2-1 favorite over Julian Marquez. Like, at the start of Marquez's career, I never would have thought that. You'd almost think, wow, he's in the top 10. He's been around for a while at this point, but it definitely hasn't been the career trajectory that a lot of people thought it would be for Marquez.
Like, I mean, for me, like, I disagree. Like, Gregory Rodrigues, 8-time national jiu-jitsu champion, jiu-jitsu world champion. Like, you look at his takedowns and...
But I just think, okay, if you're getting boxed up on the feet by Gregory Rodrigues, then what's plan B?
You shoot for a takedown and you get caught in a submission. Like, I don't know. If Julian Marquez wins this fight, I think he wins by knockout. I don't think he wins by submission. I don't think he wins by decision. If Gregory Rodrigues wins, it could be all of the above and more. Like, that's the way that I look at this. I think he has multiple ways to win this fight. And I look at the odds. They opened at par. Marquez now a plus 165. Rodrigues minus 205. We have a look at the Topology votes. Again, one guy's more popular than the other guy. We know that. So I'm going to say over under 65% Rodrigues.
Rodrigues should be heavily favored. No?
Nope. So 918 total votes. 54% Rodrigues. 54% have him to win by knockout. 31% by decision. For the 46% that are Marquez, 30% by decision. 23 silly gooses by a percentage point, by submission, 40% by knockout. Like, maybe, okay.
Call them silly goose, but this the thing.
Never
if you
thought,
get tired, you can get submitted.
Never thought Yuri Prochazka would submit Glover Teixeira. Never thought Fluffy Hernandez, Anthony Hernandez, would beat my guy, Adolfo Vieira. But again, in this fight, I've seen Gregory Rodrigues go out there, fight a hard 3 rounds against Armen Petrosyan, and not be in any kind of danger like that. Now, Petrosyan, world-class kickboxer. Julian Marquez mixes it up. Not necessarily known for his kickboxing. But I have Gregory Rodrigues in this fight, and it would surprise me if Julian Marquez beat him.
I have Gregory Rodrigues in this fight, but I'm sticking to it. I think Marquez can have success grappling. Again, anybody past middleweight is not good at sweeping off their back. Nobody is. Jacare can't do it. Glover Teixeira can't do it. It is not very often that you see fighters do transitions off their back at the higher weight classes, and Julian Marquez in this matchup should be the superior wrestler. And I really do think that if he gets this fight to the mat, he can at least waste time. I'm not saying he's going to submit Gregory Rodrigues, but control time matters at the end of the day, and I do think Marquez can win rounds that way, although I still do have Gregory Rodrigues in this fight. Make as many faces as you want to, but I do like Rodrigues in the matchup, but primarily for his stand-up ability.
The Dominic Cruz scoring criteria, and Matt throwing up a red flag with Julian Marquez, but both of us ultimately picking the Brazilian here, the former LFA champ, Gregory Rodrigues, to get the win. Matt, I know you are so excited about Tim Means Kevin Holland, aren't you?
It's going to be a great fight, because for Kevin Holland, we know how good he is at 185 in the UFC. People seem to forget he did knock out Jeff Neal at 170, though, before they both came to the UFC. So I think we all realize how good Kevin Holland can be at this weight class, but Tim Means is the ultimate litmus test. He's going to make a fight very hard for you. You could beat him by first round knockout, but this is sort of my point I was trying to bring up originally. Winning by first round knockout against Tim Means is harder than winning a decision against like Brad Tavares in some cases. You know what I mean? Like Brad Tavares he'll wrestle with you a little bit, he'll volume strike from the outside, but you're never going to be pushed to your absolute threshold. Tim Means is going to bring the fight no matter who you are, so he'll make the best of it, but that's a tough one.
You're not going to want to miss that. Keep locked in with Fight Night Picks, and as we always say,
let's get into it.